For decades, I believed that certain aches and pains were just the price of admission for cycling. A sore back, numb hands, a twinge in the knee, it's just part of the sport, right? I've been riding bikes for nearly my entire life, and at 55, I thought I knew my body and my bike. It turns out, after all those years and all those miles, I was fundamentally wrong about the most important connection in cycling. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Chavez Cycling. Today's video is a little different. It's a story. It's my story, but I have a feeling it might be your story too. It's about a relationship I've been in for over 50 years, the one between me and my bicycle. And like many long-term relationships, I had fallen into some comfortable but ultimately damaging habits. This is the story of my first ever professional bike fit. I know what some of you might be thinking. A bike fit? Isn't that for professional racers or people buying $1,000 superbikes? I used to think that too. I figured I've been riding since I was a kid. I know how to adjust a saddle. What could someone possibly tell me that I don't already know? Well, the answer is a lot. They told me why my hands go numb, why my lower back aches after hour 2, and why I've had a nagging pain in my right knee for years. This experience was so profound, so eye-opening, that it has completely changed my relationship with cycling. It feels like I've been driving a car with a misaligned steering wheel for my entire life, and someone just straightened it out. So stick with me, because I'm going to take you through the entire process, the before, the during, and the incredible after. My cycling story probably sounds a lot like yours. I remember the unbridled joy of my first bike, the freedom it represented. Throughout my teens, 20s, and into adulthood, a bike was always part of my life. I commuted on one, I went on weekend adventures, I used it to stay fit. Over the years, I've owned road bikes, mountain bikes, hybrids, you name it. And on every single one of them, I set them up myself. I use the old methods you read in magazines or heard from fellow riders. For saddle height, you use the heel on the pedal trick. For the reach, well, you just rode what came with the bike. If it felt a little long, you just got used to it. And, along with getting used to the bike, I got used to the pains. After any ride longer than an hour, my hands would start to tingle, then go numb. I'd have to shake them out constantly. A dull ache would settle into my lower back, something I just attributed to getting older. My neck would be stiff from craning to look up the road. And my right knee, well, my right knee would get a sharp little twinge on the downstroke whenever I was pushing hard up a hill. I accepted all of this as normal. It was just the toll the body pays for the joy of the ride. I'd buy new padded gloves to deal with the hand numbness. I'd do stretches for my back. I'd buy a knee strap. I was treating the symptoms without ever once considering that the root cause was the bike itself, or rather, my position on it. The catalyst for change was a conversation with a friend. He was my age, and he just had a bike fit. He was raving about it. "It's like a new bike," he said. "No more pain." I was skeptical, but the seed was planted. My knee pain had been a little worse lately, and I was starting to cut my rides short because of the discomfort. I finally decided, what have I got to lose? So, at 55 years old, after a lifetime of riding, I booked my very first professional bike fit. I'll admit, I was a bit nervous walking into the bike fitter studio. It looked like a cross between a doctor's office and a high-tech workshop. There was a stationary trainer in the middle of the room surrounded by cameras, lasers, and strange-looking measurement tools. But the first thing the fitter did wasn't to look at my bike. It was to talk to me. For a good 20 minutes, he asked me questions. What kind of riding do I do? How many hours a week? What are my goals? And, most importantly, where does it hurt? I listed my ailments: numb hands, sore back, stiff neck, right knee pain. He listened patiently, nodding and taking notes. Next came the physical assessment, and this was fascinating. He had me take off my shoes and stand on a special mat to look at the arches of my feet. He measured my flexibility, checking my hamstring and hip flexor range of motion. He even checked me for any leg length discrepancies, something that's surprisingly common and can cause a host of issues on the bike. This part of the process made it clear that a bike fit isn't just about the bike. It's about fitting the bike to your unique body with all its strengths, weaknesses, and asymmetries. Then, it was time to get my own bike on the trainer. He placed little reflective dots on key joints: my ankle, knee, hip, shoulder, elbow, and wrist. He set up a camera and had me just pedal for 5 minutes, exactly as I normally would. I felt a bit self-conscious, like my pedal stroke was being judged. He filmed me from the side and from the front, capturing data on all my joint angles and movements. After a few minutes, he stopped me and said, "Okay, I see a few things we can work."
This is where my mind started to be blown. The fitter pulled up the video of me riding on a large screen and started to break it down piece by piece. What followed was a series of small, precise adjustments that, when combined, would feel like a total transformation. First, the saddle. He started with the height. I had always set my saddle a bit low, thinking it was more comfortable. He showed me on the video that my knee angle at the bottom of the pedal stroke was too bent. "That twinge you feel in your knee," he said, "that's likely because your quad is overengaged and putting pressure on the kneecap throughout the entire pedal stroke." He raised my saddle by a full 1.2 centimeters. It felt incredibly high at first, but he showed me how it opened up my knee angle, allowing for a smoother, more powerful extension. Then he addressed the fore-aft position. My saddle was too far forward. He explained this was forcing too much of my body weight onto my hands, contributing to the numbness. He moved the saddle back on its rails by about 8 millimeters. A tiny amount, but it was designed to shift my center of gravity back, engaging my powerful glute muscles more and taking the pressure off my hands and quads. Next, the cleats. This was the biggest revelation for me. I had just bolted my cleats onto my shoes right in the middle. The fitter put my shoes on and watched how I naturally stood. He pointed out that my right foot pronates or collapses inwards slightly more than my left. On the bike, this was causing my right knee to track inwards at the top of the pedal stroke, creating that sharp pain. He took my shoe and added a small wedge under the cleat. It was a tiny piece of plastic that tilted my foot ever so slightly. He also moved the cleat position back towards the heel, explaining that this would provide a more stable platform for pedaling and reduce strain on my calf muscles. I had never, in 55 years, even considered the angle of my feet. Finally, the cockpit. He looked at my handlebar setup. My handlebars were too low and too far away, a relic from a time when I thought a more aggressive position was faster. He showed me the video again, pointing out the acute angle in my neck and the sharp bend in my wrists. "This is why your neck is sore and your hands are numb," he explained. "You're supporting your entire upper body with your hands and straining your neck to see." The solution was simple. He flipped my bike's stem over, which raised the handlebars by about 2 centimeters. Then he swapped my 110 millimeter stem for a 90 millimeter one, bringing the handlebars closer to me. He had me get back on the bike after all these changes. It felt bizarre. I felt taller because of the saddle height. I felt more upright and relaxed. My feet felt more solid on the pedals. It was still my bike, but it felt like it was made for me for the very first time. The fitter told me to take it easy for the first few rides, as my body and muscles needed time to adapt to the new position. My first ride was just a short 1-hour loop. It felt strange, I won't lie. My hamstrings felt like they were working more, and the new upright position felt less racy. I was a bit unsure if I liked it. But then, the next weekend, I went for my usual 3-hour ride, the route with the hills that always made my knee ache. An hour went by, then another. I was waiting for the usual pains to creep in. The tingle in my hands. It never came. The ache in my lower back. Nothing. I got to the big climb, stood up on the pedals, and pushed. The power felt more direct, more solid. And there was no twinge in my knee. None. I finished the 3-hour ride and got off the bike. I stood there for a moment doing a mental inventory. My legs were tired, as they should be, but that was it. No numbness, no stiffness in my neck, no back pain, no knee pain. It was a revelation. I wasn't just more comfortable, I felt more efficient, more powerful. The bike wasn't fighting me anymore. It was an extension of my own body. It was the best I had felt on a bike in decades. This wasn't just a fix, it was a complete rebirth of my love for cycling. So was my first professional bike fit worth it? Absolutely, 100%. It was the best money I have ever spent on cycling, more valuable than any carbon fiber upgrade or fancy new helmet. It made me realize that a bike fit isn't a luxury for elite athletes. It's a fundamental necessity for anyone who wants to ride a bike comfortably and without pain. It's for the weekend warrior, the daily commuter, the charity rider, the beginner, and yes, the lifelong cyclist who thinks they know it all. If you are experiencing any recurring discomfort on your bike, no matter how minor you think it is, I urge you to stop accepting it as normal. It probably isn't. Your bike should fit you, not the other way around. An investment in a good bike fit is an investment in your long-term health, your performance, and most importantly, your pure, unadulterated joy on two wheels. Thank you for letting me share my story today. If you've had a bike fit, please share your experience in the comments below. I'd love to hear how it changed your riding. And if you found this video helpful, a thumbs up would be amazing, and be sure to subscribe to Chavez Cycling for more real-world cycling advice. Until next time, ride comfortably and ride safe.